let's look at this stuff real quick. So I think it was uploaded technically to yesterday, somewhere. But Max got the translation out. Good shit, Max. Orangemushroom.net. Check him out. Because this is referring to yesterday, so technically April 30th, that they have another live talk. Now, we're not going to go through the whole thing because I believe it is 5 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, so that's all well and good. So enjoy that. If you speak Korean, you could maybe listen to the whole thing, but it's a little bit too much. So director Kang Won-ki and the planning director Kim Chung-sub. I think those are the two guys that are the two pets, right, from the Fairy Bros. Answer questions sent in by players and talked about what they could do to improve the game accordingly. It was seriously long, about 5 hours, but I'll try to summarize it. Yep. At the very end, they even teased this summer update, which we already looked at, but I guess we will tease it again. A translated and infoed layout of that showcase, which is in all likelihood going to be featuring the reworked Cygnus Knights, of course. So that will be interesting to see. This will presumably show off the Cygnus remaster. Okay, never mind. Whenever I say this, the next fucking sentence, Max types it as well. Another thing's coming this summer, similar to the MapleStory Destiny Showcase in December. Yes. If you understand Korean and want to sit through a 5-hour session, here's the full video. Good luck. It was a long event with pretty in-depth questions and answers. So my summary below. So this is Max's summary. All right. So, question. Can you remove the flag race entry time limit? Please, yes. They will adjust things slowly based on the recent trend of easing the burden of competitive guild content. I think this is really annoying. It's always like, oh, you have to do flag in 2 minutes. Okay, go to a town map, get distracted by something because you're waiting. Look at the time, miss it by 1 minute. Now you have to wait another hour to go. It's just inconvenient. It's just silly. Are there any plans to add sub-content that guild members can enjoy together? No plans for now, as they are prioritizing other types of content that more players are looking for. Dude, what if you got more EXP if you trained in the map with someone who was in your guild? Can you increase the chances of getting useful seed rings or lower its difficulty? So the seed in Korea, that's Tower of Oz, for people who don't know. No plans for now. I know that the seed rings are essential due to the burst meta, and so it would be difficult to make sudden adjustments which would affect players that already have them. Rather than making changes to them right now, they might go in a direction of moving players to other items in future patches. That would have to be so much. That would have to be so much power creep because those rings are just so strong. That seems like a very interesting challenge. Reboot server lag has increased a lot recently in Korea, of course. Can you increase the number of channels to 39 like some regular servers? They are aware and are planning to expand the number of channels in May. Okay. The fact that the servers are lagging and they're what they're trying to do is create more channels. I guess we know in GMS that is not a solution. That just means that you're gonna just destroy some more channels. Hopefully they also increase the actual server space behind it to make sure that these channels can be used properly, of course. I wish we would have a way to acquire Maple Points. They are planning to add the Power Elixirs plus Maple Points package to the cash shop and reboot in May. That is not a way to acquire Maple Points. That is a way to buy them. Acquiring would be... Wow, what a politician answer right here. Yeah, that's not what people were asking about. That's not... I mean, we have reward points in the cash shop now too. That is not a way of like acquiring them. You know, what they mean is some kind of way like the auction house. If you just had like a bank system where you could just throw a bunch of mesos in and get Maple Points back, right? I think in Reboot, like in GMS, they'll never do that for us because then you will create a closed system. Maple Points for Meso in the Maple Tour, and then Maple Tour, and then those Meso again for Maple Points. That wouldn't make much sense. They never want to make closed systems like that. They always want to have at least 3 hubs or 4 hubs to make sure that people play a lot of content. But I do agree with this question, though. The other question that was in there before that I agree with is presets for inner ability. I hope that shows up somewhere here as well. Reboot, it takes too long to make absolute gear because no trading. Can you increase the number of rewards from Heaven and Dark World Tree weekly quest? Someone asked yesterday, like, why can we buy droplets in the shop, but we cannot buy the pieces for Absolab in the shop? Which was a fair question, actually. If the higher level difficulty and the more endgame content is available for purchase, then why isn't the weaker stuff? Actually, yeah, never thought of it that way, but it's like, it would make sense if that would be kind of uniformly addressed throughout, right? They know that there are many areas that need improvement. I think it should be improved in regular worlds as well. They're planning to increase the number of awards so you can get 1 coin per week per world in May. 1 coin per week per world. So a coin would be if you basically get 20 drops worth. Yeah. And now you get... Does anyone know exactly how many? Is it like 12 and 13? Or 11 and 12? It's something like that, right? That would be a significant increase. But again, 1 coin per week is not great per character, right? Because even the regular armors need 2, and then the weapon needs 5. So in total, you would want 7 and 6, you would want 13. So it'd be 13 weeks still. Or, 13 characters and then 1 week. It's 12. Oh, it's 12 and 12? Okay. I thought there was a difference in the amount, but I guess they equalized that. Okay. So going from 12 to 20 would be a significant improvement. Or an increase at least. Are there any plans to increase Mooling Dojo's narrow rewards range, top 70%? It feels a bit narrow if you're super new, but I feel like it's pretty easy to break into as well. Plus Dojo, I don't. How many of you really do Dojo and like really rely on the rewards of Dojo? Because I basically completely ignore this content. Because I feel like it's not really necessary content to have to do, but yeah. You just get a lucky drop from the mobs in the area. Yeah, that's probably what happened. And you can farm for them if you really want to, right? Thanks for follow, by the way. Mooling Dojo has 2 main functions: checking your character's progression level and earning... Well, no, not really. It's just checking how good your class's DPM is. And earning rank-based competitive rewards. Even if they increase the reward range, it would essentially not be fixed unless they made it top 100%. In which case the rewards would have to be lowered, so it wouldn't make much of a difference. However, they're planning to reorganize Mooling Dojo in May to be closer to the original function of checking your character's progression. This will include improving inconveniences such as time differences due to server lag. I think the main thing they were doing with the dojo is because there were some people actually defeating the dojo, right? They were seeing if they could add more floors, right? Isn't that what they were doing? Just because, like, oh, someone beat it, time to build higher. Coupons, yeah, but I don't train nearly as much for the coupons, but I get that part, yeah. I did dojo on alts. I heard that was really good on non-reboot, right? Because then you can get the extra honor experience transferred, and you could make money off of that way, right? You could buy like the honor experience, the honor medals, and the scroll to turn it into a tradable medal, and then sell those. Hoard them, and then wait for an inner-ability reroll, and then sell them, right? And then make a bunch of money that way. That's what people would do. Under top 70% should get some sort of points. Yeah, well, they do get it points now, right? They get points for their run, but the points for the run compared to the points for your ranking are just so bad. Maybe like a better balance between those points distribution that might make more sense as well. Monster Park areas after Arcana need to be added. They will add them as soon as possible. In addition, it's not as soon as possible. You can add these instantly. I don't know why it takes like 6 months to a year to add like 1 new floor of Monster Park. I don't get why that rollout is so slow when those areas have been out for years. But okay. They will add them as soon as possible. In addition, they're reviewing improving existing Monster Park maps, since a lot of people do the Night Stronghold one just because it is the fastest. Yep. Which was not their intention. Okay. I mean, if the EXP and the other one stays the same, but we can do them a lot faster because of map layout and stuff, then hell yeah, dude. I'm all for that. Give me that extra EXP. Ability presets need to be added. Oh, there it is. They think that they still need to work on lowering the difficulty of acquiring abilities, and we could actually. I don't know. I guess I don't have like a huge sample size, but all of the inner abilities that I did spend like years holding my honor experience though. So that's before I got what I eventually got. So it's maybe not fair to be like, well, I got them, so it's not that hard. That's probably a little bit too simple. Things like difficulty of getting specific numerical values, etc. They agree with the proposition, but think that it is too early to provide preset options because it's still difficult to get abilities. trying to think if that argument makes sense. It's too hard to get what you want, so therefore we don't want to make it so that you can get different presets. But aren't you more likely to get something that you want, but you can't hold, and then you can just lock it for later? Would that just give more utility and take pressure off of the fact that you would need the perfect inner ability? This feels like this argument counters. Make it easier then? No, they are actively making it easier. They are actively getting rid of junk lines and reorganizing the percentages. They just don't want to do it too quickly, too fast, too quickly, right? Because they did that with compensation stuff, and they got a lot of pushback from the value of items fluctuating too much on people in the paid markets in the non-reboot in Korea. So they want to make sure that they don't make that mistake again and just slowly ease into changes. And they have been doing a lot of changes to the inner abilities by getting rid of lines, increasing percentages, consolidating lines. It's still a shit show, but inner ability now is the best it's ever been. It was so much worse even just like a year or two ago. It's made incredible progress. But I do want those presets. But if they say it's too early to do it now, that means it's at least another 6 months away for Korea, which means it's another year at least away for us. So I'm going to be on my mobbing inner ability for at least another year on my arc, I guess. I'm not rolling away from this inner ability. 19 meso, 15 drop rate, 21 attack. Like, sorry, I'm going to hold that forever until we get presets. It just doesn't make any sense. Because then finally, when we do get presets and I can change it, I can finally put my 10 million honor XP that I've had for so long to work, and then I can finally still make a damage upgrade where otherwise people have already capped out on. So I'm good with that. What's up, chat? How about everyone? We're looking at the Maple Live Talk from 2 days ago, I guess, technically, depending on your time zones. Are there any plans to expand the achievement system and add rewards? They said last time that they would never add rewards to achievements because they just wanted it to be like for showing off and for numbers, but let's see what they say here. Did you think that the achievement system has shortcomings and will continue to improve on them, but I think that playing to get the achievement should be its own reward instead of adding separate rewards? Yeah, okay. So they're still keeping that line. They also changed the Lord of the Rings achievements so that it can be completed with the Adventure Deep Dark Critical Ring. Okay, that was really weird to me as well. For people who don't know, so that achievement that I have here is a chair. It's actually a pretty cool chair, I think, where you just like float like Jesus and you have the event rings around you. This ring is an older version of this ring. I think this was called the Deep Dark Critical Ring. But now they have like an Adventure Deep Dark Critical Ring, which is technically a different item and does not complete the achievement. So I don't think you can even get it at all anymore. So that's probably a good thing that they moved it. Otherwise, it's just like legacy stuff that's in there. And, I think people should be able to get it if they want to. Are there any plans to reorganize professions with regards to the mastery decay? In general, I think crafting and professions is really like old stuff, and 95% of it is completely useless, and there could be something done there. The current Meister decay is too high and will improve it as soon as possible, but it would be difficult to completely remove it. It wouldn't be difficult. It's just something that you don't want to do. Just say we don't want to. It's not difficult to remove it. just go into the code and say decay equals and turn whatever value is there to 0, and you're good. Are there any plans to improve Toad's hammer? That's Tot's know-how for you guys. Like where it becomes difficult to tot certain items since they require rare or discontinued items. Oh no, wait, this is something else completely. Wait, what is Toad's hammer? I thought that was Tot's, TOT's. But what is hammer then? Is it just transfer hammer? Where are my Koreans at? No, it's just called transfer hammer. Oh, is that what they call it? Like where it becomes difficult to certain items since they require rare or discontinued items. I think this is mainly when you go to the mage items, and you go past the old 4th job mark, right? Like from level 108 to 120 or something. You can get into a little bit of trouble because there's a bigger jump in levels there, and that's probably something that needs to be looked into. Remove the recommended section in the professions tab. It has no value. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. 100% agreed. Answer says it. Oh, okay. They're planning to improve Toad's hammer so that you can more easily transfer enhancements from equipment up to a certain level. Okay, yeah, so that's what it is. Okay. Are there any plans to relearn? I like to ask questions to answers that are like right there in front of my face, Andre, just so you know. Are there any plans to relaunch Star Planet so we can play fun mini games at all times? Ooh, I remember this. They said that they do really like some of the mini games, and employees of Nexon also enjoy playing them. Excuse me. Wonky said that you can even play MapleStory at work, but of course you need to get your work done, and you can't do wealths all the time. What is that? They said if they were available at all times, it would be difficult to have good matchmaking, and if the rewards were smaller, people wouldn't participate as much. They will instead proceed in the direction of releasing lots of new minigames in new events. Oh, I see. Okay. I mean, but do that, okay? When you say new minigames and new events, don't do the minigames that you've already released 16,000 times and just recolor them, okay? Even though, like, that, it's not like that's horrible, but don't say you're going to do new minigames and then just do old ones in a new skin, all right? That's different, all right? Okay. Are there any plans to release past events and stories as events? One considering the case of a classic version, which people sometimes talk about, he thinks that it would be generally a negative experience, and it would be more appropriate to remake past memories to fit the current game, and they will go in that direction. I think something like a classic version could work, but only temporarily, like in the form of the lab server, where you basically make like a jump into the past, and then you play it like temporarily. It'll only be open for like 6 to 8 weeks or something. And then based on your rewards in there, you can get a reward in the real game, like the lab server pieces or like, you know, equips or, you know, cosmetic stuff. I think that would be fine. But like I think a permanent classic version would not do very well. I don't think. I mean, there will always be like a core diehard people playing it, but I think it would, you know, it's already like a small game within a small community of a small game, and I think it would die out pretty quickly. I think it would just go the way of like EU Reboot, where, you know, it'll keep going and people will keep playing it, but, you know, it'll be very, very small community of people in there doing it. And then, blah, blah, blah. Oh, are there any plans to remove or improve the Fritos treasure hunt portal? That may various improvements to Fritos experience rewards, but not the portals themselves. They will improve it and make it more fun content as was originally intended, and Fritos treasure hunt will be removed in May. Wait, treasure hunt? That's just the one where you press up. That's the easiest one. That's the best one. Okay, whatever. Are any plans to add party quests, cooperative elements? They think that being able to play MapleStory alone is one of the greatest strengths, and progression has been focused on solo play. Yeah, it would be difficult to aggressively add co-op in that regard, but they will continue to... Dude, if you add anything that is just even remotely slightly better than what is now solo, everyone will jump on it immediately because people are min-maxing. People aren't soloing because they want to play alone. People are soloing because that's how you get the best rates. Like, and it is not everyone, but people will immediately move over to anything else that's just slightly better than what there is now. People move just like that, you know? And seasonal content and things like events. I think one of the strengths is MapleStory that you just grind everything alone. Ugh, that doesn't sound positive to me. That sounds like that's something they want to hold on to and not get rid of. Okay. Growth. There is a general perception that enhancing or cubing your own items is inefficient. Are there any plans to improve this? I think that's mainly a non-reboot thing, right? I consider that making your own items isn't. I think that's probably been true since like 2011 or something, 2010, 2011, 2012 probably, right, when cubing really came out. When it came to scrolling, it was always better to make your own. Pretty much always, unless you could rip someone off. People generally remember only the failures, although they don't plan to significantly reduce the overall number of enhancement attempts. They do think that the Star Force in particular, there is a need to improve the deviation. They will gradually improve it to reduce the deviation while maintaining the overall expected value. For cubing, they plan to improve it this year in terms of ranking up and getting good lines. However, they will do so gradually so the value of existing items does not tank. For people who don't know, the rate of tiering up for cubes in Korea is horrible. It's we don't know exactly how low because we actually don't know the rates in GMS. Thank you, but they are. We know that they are lower because their posted rates are abysmal. So maybe they will actually get closer to our rates, which would be like the opposite of the move, which has been we just copy what they have, but maybe they will move closer to what we have actually. That's the falling treasure box one? Oh, that one. Okay. I don't think that's the worst one, but it's a little bit weird, I guess. Classic WoW didn't do well. I think it did very well right in the beginning, but then maintaining that is super difficult. Because people want a nostalgia trip every now and then, and that's cool. But moving backwards in speed and in comfort and in you know, how the game looks and all of that, you want to do that for nostalgia every now and then, but for longer periods of time, for extended periods of time, and to be your mainstay, I think that's always going to be difficult. Because the reason that it's nostalgia is because you have all of the other memories that you have during the time when you were playing it, not so much because you really liked just the game then, but because who you were in the situation when you were playing the game, right? Like you were a kid, you didn't have as many responsibilities, you could really like escape from the real world and just be in the video game, and you know, you didn't have to think much about things. But now you still have rent, you know, you have kids, you have bills, like you you can really like escape in the same way. So even though it's the same product, your experience of the product won't be the same anymore. Are there any other plans to add other ways to get experience? They will continue in the direction of adding ways to get a large amount of experience in a short amount of time with limits, such as experience events, Monster Park expansions, and Pollo and Frito. Man, I really just want them to get a hyperbolic time chamber, like training chamber in there. One key state of the things such as Cernium daily quests not giving experience will likely be resolved around the summer. They're looking at it conservatively as it may still be too early, but the number of players doing things like reaching max symbol level is gradually increasing, so they will do a more comprehensive review in the summer. Okay. Maybe experience from bosses. Yeah, that would be nice. Are there any plans to alleviate the difficulty of getting experience? They have improved... no, also bossing, I know. But like the more you distract me from this, the longer it'll actually take me to get there, so it's counterintuitive. Get experience will improve the certain level ranges like level 250 and will continue to ease the difficulty of leveling up long term by doing things like increasing monster experience. In addition, they will want to close the gap between players who play a lot and those who don't by improving the efficiency of limited experience content as mentioned above. And totems. That's another way of closing the gap. The overall age of users is increasing. Are there any plans to tackle the issue where players' opportunity cost of playing the game is increasing? Oh, that's actually completely different. That's like an old person question in there. In terms of experience progression, the above questions were comprehensive answers. Yeah, it kind of, you know, goes back to this part, right? So you can kind of like cluster your gameplay over shorter amounts of time and get comparatively bigger efficiency out of the time to help you not fall behind, quote unquote, or lose your momentum, I guess. I think the MapleStory is both an easy and a hard game, and they need to be able to solve this going forward. They will continue to add hardcore areas that will require some additional investment, while they continue to alleviate the requirements for lower areas. The problem of not enough spots of popular hunting maps will be improved. They will make sure to improve this in the next update. I mean, the main thing is not that you need more spots at the popular hunting maps. You just need to make the unpopular hunting maps suit more people so that it spreads out the popularity, right? You can't have like 80% of the maps being completely deserted and then 20% having everyone fighting over that map. That just means that the other 80% of the maps just need to be done better. I mean, and I think they did that very well in areas like Lachline, where in the beginning there was just like 3 maps that people were on and everything else was empty, and then now people can spread out way more over the Lachline area and a lot more maps are viable. There's definitely some shitty maps like in the top left, like nobody goes there, but in general you have a lot more options now. Limina, yeah, Limina's kind of the same, although Limina doesn't have that many areas, but like the earlier points of Limina is like, why does this even exist? Are there any plans to add systems that let you show off or use other characters in your account? They do like chairs and stuff, right? They are planning to add things like Legion Arena Season 2. Yes! I'm so glad that the Korean players came back on that when they said in the beginning that they didn't like Legion Arena, but then it turned out that they didn't like it just because the balance wasn't perfect. And they were like, oh, but you like the concept? Yeah, we actually really like the concept. Okay, cool, then just say that. Don't say you hate the thing, right? But so Legion Arena might be coming back. For the people who didn't play it, basically your character's damage depended on your level, your arcane power, and your Star Force. And you were kind of you had to select 6 of your characters in your account, your opponent as well, and then you would play best out of 3, so up to 5 matches in the beginning, and there will be some fight alterations, some bonuses, and you kind of had to predict who is my opponent going to pick, who am I going to pick, and which fights can I win, which fights can I lose, and based on that try to get first to 3 wins against your opponent. And you know, the thing would like auto battle and it would play out, but some classes were, you know, horrible and some classes were way too strong, so it would throw off the balance. But I think as long as they balanced that better, it was actually, I think, a really cool concept to give you more value of your entire account to be able to throw it in there. Whether the barrier to entry for new players can be lowered by adding better tutorials and simplifying things like additional options. They strongly sympathize with this option. Since it's a 19-year-old game, there are a lot of complicated pieces. They're developing a system that will provide YouTube videos and links to the official homepage at appropriate times, and are hoping to share it soon. The supply of authentic symbols is too small and needs to be improved. Yes, although I think they want you to max it out very, 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 very slowly. So a player is always going to want more, but there's a very good reason, of course, that they're trickling them in like this. But it's still too early to increase the number of symbols at this time. They will go in the direction of doing things like lowering the coin cost. Oh yeah, so the meso cost of symbols in the the coin cost of in the coin shop. Okay. Starting from next summer, so not 200 each anymore. Nice, down to 150. Pog. Are there any plans to alleviate the difficulty of the Legion link skill system? For example, by providing mega burning boosters. I think people want mega burning boosters in the Legion shop is something that people want. You get Legion and MapleStory's most difficult content. They will add mega burning boosters in a daily gift starting in June. For making Legion easier, they can't give specifics, but they're planning a patch for it soon, like the number of characters that are included in the Legion raid. Okay. Instead of suddenly decreasing its difficulty, they will go in the direction of gradually lowering it. One key mentioned they actually registered a patent on the Tetris-like system of the Legion board and would like to keep it because it's a unique system to make it fun for players, but if it becomes too troublesome, they will change it to a point-like system. I think it's good where it's at right now. Okay, this is a little bit longer. I actually have some bosses I have to fight, so this will be the end of part 1, and then we'll get back for part 2 in a little